thank you for joining me today with Rhondda Stewart, who is the CEO and founder of the Australian College of Hypnotherapy. I've got Rhondda on board with me today because Rhondda actually was my educator, and I'm so happy to have you here, Rhondda. Thank you for joining us. I'm hoping that what you could do today is you can put to bed some of those questions about hypnotherapy. And a lot of people, as you know, and I know you mentioned it to us when we were in training, that there's that thought process that hypnotherapy is going to make you quack like a duck or all the showmanship behind it. But I know for my own self and my experience that put me on this pathway that it was hypnotherapy that actually got into my subconscious mind and changed it so I could get over a 7-year battle of anxieties that kept me at home. So, okay, I mean, you've done a lot of training over the years, and I know you're an author of 2 dream books as well, which we'll do at another interview. So what is, I mean, the dream books is on the subconscious, and so is hypnotherapy. So what would you tell people to start with of why hypnotherapy is so successful in altering thought patterns?
Well, the reason hypnotherapy works is that it communicates, the therapist communicates directly with the unconscious or subconscious mind and lets it know something isn't working for the client. And the bottom line is the unconscious mind is always working on survival and well-being. And when it's aware that a behavior that the client has isn't working for them anymore, and it's directionalized through linguistics, through specific language patterns that are hypnotically based, it gets the point that something needs to change. So it's not that the therapist makes the changes, it's that the client makes the changes from deep within their unconscious mind. And what happens is they're given more self-awareness, self-empowerment, self-identity. And when you get in touch with your own connection of self, you can be the most empowered person you can be. And so, of course, you're able to move through different stages of life. Anxiety, for example, is hereditary, and it pops up for some, it doesn't for others, but it's controllable. It's something we can learn to work with in a way that doesn't debilitate us and put us in limitation like you experienced. And you can become, once again, the person you know you are, which you've done, and be in that empowered place and step up and take life on again, yeah? And so it works with the unconscious mind making those changes. And that's the person's unconscious mind.
And that's like when, you know, I know when I have clients and they say to me, the reason why we do the history and thing is to make sure that we're talking to the subconscious mind in the language that the client talks itself. But I mean, in talking about this, like, I mean, the training I did with you, apart from the fact that I learnt what I needed to, it was interesting, and it kept you, you know, you keep us, you know, in contact with everything, and it's not something that's laborious or boring. But I mean, unfortunately, what happens is that, and I'm very passionate about people getting very good help and not help from people that have done a 2-day course. Now, I know myself, I went off before you, Rhondda, and I did a course in NLP, and it cost me over $2,000, and the certificate I got wasn't worth the writing on it. And yeah, I got a little bit, but nothing compared to when I actually sat down and did a real course. So you must come against that a lot, where there's people trying to put these courses on, and why it's important to do like a proper training.
Oh, totally. I mean, we give an NLP practitioner certification free with the diploma of clinical hypnotherapy. And we do that because we teach a model of conversational hypnosis, and the self-help tools that clients work with, a range of them are NLP based. So our therapists walk away with 2 certifications, but they're trained in both comprehensively. So you can't do that in a brief course. And unless your trainer, your educator, is skilled as a trainer, then all you're doing is speaking to somebody that's a peer that's done something and they want to share it with you. Well, that's not training. And unfortunately, a lot of people have done that. They go off, they do something, they use the material they were given, or they go on the YouTube or the internet and they collect things and they create what they think is a course. But there's no foundation. So, at the end of the training, they don't have the ability to design a treatment plan from scratch with the individual sitting in front of them. They don't know how to write their own scripts, stories. They have no concept of what a suggestion really is and how it works with the unconscious mind. In other words, they don't learn the language properly. It's like, I guess, learning French. They learn to say bonjour and they learn, maybe a couple of other words, but they're missing the language, so they can't actually connect and communicate in a bigger way. And, it is a therapy-based curriculum. It's comprehensive training. There's components of counselling in it, and you learn how to deal with clients in multiple situations. What do you do if they have an emotional outburst? How do you deal with that? What are your legal obligations? How do you actually structure a treatment plan to move a client from where they are in a depression or anxiety or whatever it may be to where they want to be? And it covers all the medical side. We teach glove anesthesia. We get into chronic pain. We get into disease and disorder. We get into working with mirror neurons, psychopharmacology. So it's very comprehensive training. So when my graduates leave, as you have, you're able to talk about it with an understanding and facilitate a treatment plan with a skill and understanding. So it's comprehensive. And you're quite right. There's a lot of people that have set up quick courses, and some of them charge $12,000, $14,000. The sad thing is that people that are generally looking for a course don't have anything out there saying from an association, these are the criteria you should be looking for when you're shopping for a course. But,
that association, the association is very important, isn't it, Rhondda? I mean, because I know that when I finished the course with you, it was that association and all that through ticking the boxes of completing your course, which is accredited, and then going through and then going on to the association with that then also opened up a field of places where I could get more information. Apart from the backup that you give your students, personally give your students, which is absolutely great, because I know how busy you are and I know how you take each one of us on as well, which is really great, because the thing is, when you move out into the world of doing what like I did and opened up hypnotherapy, we have questions. And even though we're trained really extensively and well, we do have questions, and that backup has been very important. But also I ended up getting my provider number for, medical insurance companies. And even though not all of them take it, if you go to another company and pay that, you don't get those sort of backups behind you, do you?
No, you don't. It's based on us having government accredited training that the medical funds will give provider numbers out. So, and you're right, I'm totally there for my graduates. As you know, we want you to build your business. We want you to be successful out there. And you do need support with that in the early days. It can be daunting, and it's great to be able to have someone to link with. And a lot of people, we get people through our training that have done many courses. There are enormous holes in their understanding, and of course they haven't got enough to go out and set up a business. It's not, they're not equipped enough. And you talk about people still have the concept of hypnosis being where you're guided to cluck like a chicken. Well, that's hypnosis. That's a hypnotist. That's entertainment, and that's where some what we call inductions and designs are utilized to encourage someone to imagine an experience of being a character like a duck, and then role playing that on stage. And it is purely for entertainment. It's not hypnotherapy. Clinical hypnotherapy is where a therapist trained in hypnosis and NLP, as you are, works with designing a treatment plan with your goal in mind. And the objective is to get you to the outcome that you want. We work with chronic conditions. We work with strokes. We work with irritable bowel. We work with chronic pain. We work with phobias, anxieties. Stop smoking is probably what most people are familiar with. But irritable bowel syndrome, I mean, our research on that is that we're in the top 2 treatments to eliminate the symptoms.
And I think what it is that people don't understand how strong the mind actually is. And what I have experienced is people that come into me and they say, oh, well, you can't hypnotize me, I won't go to sleep. And they have this thought that unless they go to sleep, they're not going to be hypnotized, which that isn't true, is it?
It's lack of education. No, hypnotherapy is like a meditation. It's where you're guided somewhere and you follow the direction of the person guiding you, but you're aware of where you are. You're aware of the sounds around you. You could open your eyes if you needed to. And the aim of it is to relax you enough so that you allow the concept of an idea of change to be accepted rather than go into judgment where people go into, oh, I can't do that. That won't happen for me, which is where our conscious mind overrides us in making changes. So the aim is really to relax someone enough so that they allow the opportunity to think differently. And the differently would be being open to, I can be free of anxiety. And we are person-centered, as you mentioned earlier. We take the client's history and information. We only work with and utilize the client's language so that it's really about them and directing them into change.
And the thing is, as I've known over the years, that if someone doesn't want the change, it's not going to happen. So
Absolutely.
It's not like we have a magic wand that we just wave over.
That's correct. That's correct.
Yeah.
You can't hypnotize somebody that doesn't want to be. And if their desire isn't to change, we call it, could be a secondary gain. There could be more value in keeping the problem than letting it go. And that's something as a therapist we're able to work through as a clinical hypnotherapist and help the client recognize that so that we can then communicate with them and look at what their real goal is. So all we can do is really move the client to their real goal, whatever that is.
Exactly. So whatever they actually want is what they will receive. It's not something like hypnotherapy is a guideline or a guidance to where they want to go. And like when we did the course, we mentioned NLP briefly then, and I know we're going to probably talk again maybe another time on NLP, but the way that you combined what I liked, the hypnotherapy with the NLP, because they're like hand in hand, aren't they really?
Oh, totally. And conversational hypnosis is innovative in the world today. It's where the world's heading. With stress getting higher and anxiety getting higher out there, you can't relax someone into a trance state instantly. You've got to build rapport. It takes time to do that. So conversational hypnosis is a must. Any therapist that's working out there should have that. It's a valuable tool.
And like with the college, how many years has it been established now, Rhondda?
Over 20 years.
Yeah. So you've been doing this for a very long time. Have you seen a change in attitude with people being more accepting of hypnotherapy? Because I know when I went, mine was in the 96 around then when I went and had hypnotherapy for anxiety, and I walked in after 7 years being agoraphobic anxiety, not getting out of my home, and 3 sessions with this fella, and I was, out and living life again. It was brilliant. Hence why I'm here today doing these things, because I got such an appreciation of the mind. But I mean, I know back then it was like taboo. Oh, they don't know what they're doing. But have you seen the growth of it and the understanding?
Well, you're quite right. There are a lot of people that aren't trained properly and they don't know what they're doing. But for the people that are trained professionally, their marketplace is different. I mean, we link with referral networks with doctors, dentists, counsellors, psychologists, a range of professionals, naturopaths, herbalists. So, if you're skilled up and you're trained properly, then your referral links are going to be in other areas with other people that also have a foundation of education in whatever they're working with. education is what has limited people's perspective or view of what hypnosis is. As the research is growing, there's an article a month now, Kathryn. Latest one was 3 weeks ago on anesthetic. They're coming now. The latest research is that if a child has anesthetic, is going in for an operation with anesthetic and has a couple of sessions with a hypnotherapist before they go in, they will use less. So, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And so research drives change and education drives change. I mean, I'm a firm believer that we should have more information out from associations educating the population about what clinical hypnotherapy is. So it's education. So every time you talk to someone about it, every time they listen to something like we're doing today, you're educating people into what it really is. And they'll say to you, oh, I didn't realize that. I knew about stage hypnosis because I've seen Las Vegas and whatever on television.
Yeah. Well, I've found that I've known of hypnotherapists that are practicing as a clinical hypnotherapist and at the same time running off and doing stage hypnotherapy. And I find that disappointing in some ways because it's like a contradiction, and that's my own personal view. But I mean, I found that you're totally correct that the more and more people learn about how they can actually fix themselves, they can unlimit their own selves. And as you know, and I've spoken to you, Rhondda, I'm really about people unlimiting. That's my goal in life. But I mean, my way of traveling, in my own personal way with traveling, was for the doctors to chuck me onto a whole lot of antidepressants and Valium and everything and pump me full of all that. And back in then, when I had my children, I had 5 kids, they're all little, I didn't want to be walking around in that state. Now, in my instance, I was able to go and get hypnotherapy and be drug-free. Now, for me, I find that very good. Now, I'm not saying everyone is in the same state as what I was in, but I think that a lot of the times, and for everyone out there, this is a personal opinion, I find we band-aid too many things and we don't get to the core. And I think hypnotherapy gets to that core and get that truth of inside you of, I really want to be free. And as proper trained hypnotherapists, we can guide that to happen. And like, do you find that hypnotherapy is more like a lot of people, like you said, are talking about it, but that it's more recognized for being able to do this now? I think we've had a computer problem here. Might have had a computer problem here. I seem to have lost Rhondda. I'm hoping she may be able to get back. If not, we will either leave it there or we'll wait and see if she comes back. But the thing is, what I was saying is I was talking about my own situation. And for people that know me, they know that I've actually gone through the whole reel of hypnotherapy and everything. And from that, my passion of the mind grew. And I then took on studies some years over that on hypnotherapy and NLP. And from that, it unlimited me. And I did train with Rhondda. I haven't got it back yet. So what I'll do is I'll let you all know that we'll get back on another time with Rhondda. But please stay tuned, because I know that it's a very interesting topic. And, you know, to try and help people out there that have anxiety and, you know, even with depression or anything like that, there's always another way of looking at things instead of going straight to either a drug way of looking at it, and to explore all avenues. And if you've been stuck in a position and you've been on the same road for many years, I've got you back, Rhondda.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. I've just, I told everyone we had a technical glitch there. I was basically, as you said, about how the research is coming out with people going in, young children for anaesthetic and things like that. Do you find that hypnotherapy over the past 20 years has grown a lot?
Well, it has. I mean, I can say to you that the Australian College of Hypnotherapy has trained probably the largest number of clinical hypnotherapists in Australia now that are earning a living at this. You know, there's a big difference to training people that have it as a hobby or an interest. So based on that, I can say to you that we've got people all over Australia in country areas as well as major cities who are spreading the word, educating. A good few of my graduates, because I keep in touch, as you know, and I'm always here to support and help in any way I can, actually are doing regular mini workshops, educating people in the areas they live in. So they might run a workshop from a library and also introduce themselves and what they do. A lot of them now are working with the medical profession. So they're going along doing talks in doctors' lunch breaks and actually building an awareness and understanding. So the growth, it's excellent. Now that's from me training people from the area of education generally. All the research papers that are out there that are continually flowing pretty much on a monthly basis. It's exciting. Is educating doctors, dentists, physiotherapists, you name it, people, naturopaths, all the different professions. So, you know, as a profession becomes more aware of the value of clinical hypnotherapy, the more they're going to refer. In America, referral lists are standard in a doctor's office. So if you completed your training and it was comprehensive and the school was recognised, you'd automatically go into your doctors and they'd put you on their referral list because they know the value of clinical hypnotherapy. Yeah. We're starting to get that here, and it's a growing thing. So, you know, I can say to you, we've had major shifts in the last 10 years. I expect it to be even more so in the next 5.
Yeah.
That would be what I say.
I was saying how I won't go into it because I did talk about it while you were off then.
No, I heard you.
Oh, did you? Oh, you heard me? Yak.
I can hear you. You need. Too funny.
There you go. Oh, well, lucky I didn't say anything wrong, aren't I? I would have been in trouble. So it's really the way I explain it to my clients, and I suppose you do too, is it's going back to the core of what is the essence of something going wrong for someone instead of putting the Band-Aid of an antidepressant over the top of it. And that core is what you train us to find out with our history, taking on clients and working out treatment plans. I just wanted to talk a little bit too while we're having this little talk today. The dream books that you did. Now, I know that they were very successful. Were they fun to write?
Oh, absolutely. I'm finishing a children's dream book as we speak that I hope to have out next year. And it's an interactive book for parents with small children. And then there's a compendium for children from about 12 upward to work out their own dreams. So it's a fascinating area. I did a lot of work with it. I was on Bert Newton's show for a while with interpretation and radio with the morning crew and a range of other radio stations. I had a great time. It was an excellent time. And dreams are a very important part of a reflection of who we are. And as you were saying, the aim of hypnotherapy is to work with healing the inner core of what's occurred for someone and building new wisdom, new potential from deep within. And the healing is done deep within the unconscious mind. Dreams are the same. They're a reflection of who we are and of our life experiences in an abstract way. We reflect that in the kind of dreams that we have. So we're trying to heal ourselves while we're asleep. And so the more we can understand our dreams, the more interactive we can be with the healing process. So they're very important.
I think that, like you doing the dream books, it's really sort of an extension in some ways, like as you just said about the hypnotherapy, because it's coming back to what your subconscious mind is doing when you're not awake. And I mean, take a note of it and have some fun with it. And we'll talk about that in another interview. But I mean, for me, I look at it and think it's all a complete package. And what you've been, what's been driving you all these years to keep going?
I love helping people, Kathryn. It's always been my thing. I love helping people. And, my background is also I'm a psychic. I've been that for the last 50 years. And I worked for the Women's Weekly. And I was amazed at the number of people that needed help and support in different ways. And it's how I got into initially counselling and then moved into clinical hypnotherapy and neurolinguistic programming. And my objective was to help people heal themselves. And so, we work with a client-centered approach so that it's teaching someone how to feed themselves for a lifetime rather than feeding them for a day with their own tools and their own skills. And so it's always been a passion to help people.
Well, I want to thank you for coming and joining me today, and hopefully we can get back and maybe have a look at talking about dreams. And everyone who's listening in today, and we're going to be putting this out through the whole of social media, they can either write a message to me. They've got a question for you, Rhondda, about dreams next week or when we decide, or they can write it to you and we can, discuss those sort of things. But I just wanted to put out there for anyone who is interested in actually becoming a hypnotherapist, I'd have to say that I've been successful because I've been trained properly. As I said to you, I have had a course before I've done with NLP, and it was hopeless for me. It wouldn't have got me anywhere. I had no confidence or anything. My confidence was built because of the training, and the confidence was because of the knowledge, which was because of your training, Rhondda. And I think that if anyone's out there and they're like Rhondda and myself, passionate about helping people and getting to core situations, that I think do you have another course starting soon, do you?
Look, we do. We have we train in Melbourne and Sydney, and
right.
Part of the training is distance ed and part is face-to-face for all the practical. If anyone is interested, if they'd like to email me on inquiries, enquiries ach.au or Rhondda, RHONDA @ach.edu.au. And we can send them out some information. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no, that's okay. And I'll put that actually up, all that information on, so people can know that they can get in touch with you for those 2 courses in Melbourne and Sydney. And I think you said they're the end of the July, Sydney is?
Yes, 30th of July, Sydney starts.
Do you have room still for people?
We do. We'd love to have your inquiry and see if we're the fit that you're looking for. We'd love to talk to you.
All right, then. Well, thanks a lot for joining me. And I've really loved catching up with you, like I always do, love chatting to you. And I hope everyone else out there has enjoyed it today. And look, have a lovely weekend, everyone, yourself, Rhondda, and we'll talk to you all later. Thank you.
Thanks, Kathryn.
Bye.
Bye.